But you've been with your blood your whole life, right? Friends do come and go, right? If something did happen, I feel like your family's more likely to have it back than your friends are.
We live?
We love.
We live. Welcome back to the Opinion Factory podcast, the podcast for free thinkers and challenge seekers.
Is there?
I'm Khelil.
I'm Alex.
And something got me thinking the other day, something I saw, right?
Uh-huh.
It was this meme. And the caption said, 4 out of 5 moms knock before they enter. And below the caption was a picture. It was a white woman, white woman, white woman, white woman, black woman. Black woman's looking right at the camera, right? She knows who she is. And I was just like, I thought it was a unique experience for me that I had no privacy at my house when I was growing up. Not as a kid. Not only did I share a room with my brothers, but even if I was in the room alone, I couldn't close the door. Not saying I was up to no good, but I just wanted like my space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somewhere I could feel like it's my space. None of that. Open, exposed all the time.
It's not healthy behavior, fam. I mean, like, houses have doors for reasons. It's just not healthy behavior.
What if they have doors but no locks on the doors? Because I feel like that's something that happened at one point. Maybe I think like we got the locks taken out of our bedroom doors.
Maybe. I can understand that a little bit more. Because I don't think I had locks on my door for a while. I just had like an old house, so I guess you just close the door. That was a day.
No locks.
But I was like able to close my door.
But you were?
Yeah. Like I feel like that's just a normal thing. But
aren't you Haitian?
Yeah,
from a Haitian family?
I mean, yeah. Apparently that's not. I mean, I don't know if my cousin was able to close the door. I might have to ask him. But
What
like,
the
I thought
hell?
that was like a normal thing. Like, don't slam no doors.
Well, of course, because that's a death sentence.
Yeah,
but
like, you could. I don't understand this idea of my house. I can do whatever the fuck I want, and you're a kid, but you have no respect as a human being. That's very toxic to me.
And you know what? It's very normalized. I want to say that it's a unique experience that I had, but it sounds like you got some of that too, and I feel like a lot of people did.
Yeah, it's not a normal. Perhaps in the black community it is, but it's like this. It's not something that dudes should be bragging about. Like, oh, I don't close the kids. I know what's going on in my house. I'm like, yo, you can know what's going on in your kid's house without freaking being Adolf Hitler, fam. Like, you don't have to be like a TSA searching and stripping down everything every single day to see what your kid's doing or not. Like, you do not have to be doing.
Where is that fear even coming from? Like, were they doing shit when they were kids that they didn't want their parents knowing about?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of these relationships with parents, especially when you're younger, it's like very dictatorial. If that's a word, I might be making that up. Or dictator, like I'll say.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
It's like it's my house. I do whatever I want. You listen to me because I'm in charge.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all the logic in the world if you want to. Don't care. If you talk back to me, if you're right and I'm wrong, and you show that I'm wrong, you're disrespecting me. Go to your room.
Yep.
Like that's
and if I say something and you have something to say about what I said, you're talking back.
Yeah, it's not like that's not healthy, fam.
It's
not healthy, bro.
But I feel like
I understand. And like I said, I understand your house. You get to decide the rules, right? That's perfectly fine, and you don't need to have a necessary logical. I don't want to say necessarily logical reason. You could just not. You could just want something not to be there, right?
You don't need a logical reason for that. If there's no logical reason, there's no safety, logical, emotional reason.
All right, let's use this example, right? I live in my house. I don't want to have any pets in my house. At all. Just don't want pets. Don't want to deal with any of the hassle of having pets. Even if there is no hassle, I just don't want. I just don't want animals in my house.
So there's no hassle, no responsibility for you.
I don't want animals in my house.
Why?
Because I don't want to live
There has to be a reason why.
I don't want to live with animals.
But none of the responsibility that you're thinking of living with animals is going to be on you.
That's okay, fam, but I don't want to live with animals. I don't want to see them walking around my house. I don't want to see, I don't like them. I don't like them.
You don't like being around animals?
No, I don't like them.
So that's the reason.
All right, fine.
They,
Is that logical enough for you? Like, I don't like being around animals? Is that logical? Like, I feel like it's okay as a parent to be like, no, I don't want to do something for your kids, and that's perfectly fine. But I feel like there's things that need to get explained. There's things that need to be explained to your kids that we don't do a lot. And when I say we, I'm more talking more so about black parents because it's my experience, and just like from like most of my friends are black, so from their experience as well. Yes, they don't have to explain everything to you, but if there's something like you want to do that doesn't, and it makes sense, and they're just like no.
You're talking like so you're like,
what I mean?
you're talking about the fact how it was always no because I said so.
Yeah, like that's like how many times can you hear that? And it's gonna be like, yo, what the hell's going on?
Right.
You know, like if your mom doesn't want you to go to a party, she's like, no, guys, that's all right, cool. I get that. I just want to go parties. I'm not gonna go party. That's fine. Whatever you have, and it's not just because I said so. You have your reasons. I know you have your reasons behind it.
Right, safety, the time of night, whatever.
Morals.
Morals.
I get that.
Going to a party doesn't make you immoral.
No, but I mean, they're probably bringing ideas of all the other young kids are doing in the videos they see on Facebook or Twitter or whatever they're on. You know, they're grinding and all that stuff they're saying. You know,
that kid's gonna sneak out anyways, weed. Man.
I mean, probably. I mean, I think that's the thing you find out with a lot of sheltered kids and a lot of like.
I'm so surprised. I'm like girls that I've dated.
Yeah.
Would tell me how on weekends they would sneak out to go see boys or go to like different parties and the parents never knew. Ever. Yeah. They like to this day the parents don't know. And I'm like, how one of the girls I dated, her parents thought she was a virgin. Up until us thinking me dating her, we'd never had sex.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. They had no idea what this girl was doing. She used to sneak out on the weekends to go see boys in high school. Like, that's the kind of thing you get though when it's always don't do it because I said so. I'm not gonna explain it. You can't talk to me about nothing. I'm not your little friend. None of that.
Oh yeah, I'm not your little friend.
None of that.
And I think the danger of that is when you do that though, like as your relationship goes older with your parents and you don't need them, the same way you did when you were younger because they're, food, shelter, signing your papers, all that stuff. What happens then after you get old? It's like. Am I gonna really like rock with you now?
Right.
Like I'm not your friend. Right. Like, what's the point of me? Like if I can't talk to you, am I gonna come back around with you and chill with you, say what's up to you if I'm in the area? Like I'm not gonna do that.
When you're 17, 18, you're pretty much an adult, but you're still not on your own yet.
Yeah.
And you just hear no because I said so. Like you're not gonna want to stay around that person, those people.
You're not like especially when you're at that age when things need to be older. But I think when you're older, you need explanations. But I think when you're also younger.
Even when you're younger, you need explanations.
Yeah, I feel like we should not be treating kids like we own them. But I don't think that's healthy. I do not think not being allowed to have your own private space is.
I don't.
Like,
I agree with you.
If you're a kid and you don't have a private space at home, then you're not going to respect anyone else's private. Like I feel like that's going to be the mentality for kids. You go to kindergarten. Dudes are
not necessarily though.
Maybe
because your parents had the private spaces. You couldn't come into their room unless you knocked and waited. So you knew the value of space. They knew the value of space.
Yeah,
I know I did.
Yeah, that's right.
I could not enter my mom's master bedroom unless I knocked and I got a response. If I did not get a response, try again later. That was it. So I knew the value of space, and I wanted that for myself. I wanted to be like, yo, you can come in. I'm ready for you. I was watching this show. I was working out. I was doing anything that I didn't want people to know.
So you want this woman to respond?
What was that?
Like you knock on the door and just get no response?
Sometimes.
And they be in there?
Sometimes. Either she's sleeping or whatever. Like if I can't go into the room when she's sleeping.
Okay.
Right? And I can't knock for too long either to wake her up.
Would there be times where they were awake and they would just not answer?
I don't know. I'd always assume that she was sleeping. I was really young. It was a really long time ago.
Yeah.
What I remember, I just assumed that she was sleeping.
Yeah.
Because she worked a lot.
Uh-huh.
She worked a lot, so I would just assume she was tired, whatever. Even if she wasn't, I'm like, she's resting. I'm not going to bother her.
Yeah.
I'll just go do whatever I wanted to do anyways. But like I was saying, like they know the value of space, and you as a child grow up knowing the value of space but thinking that you're not deserving of it. That's the danger.
Yeah, I just don't know why. It's just something to be proud of. Like I understand. And that's another thing. I understand like wanting to know what's going on in your kid's life. And listen, I'm not on this whole thing like, oh, it's a kid, privacy, they do whatever they want. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's okay to check their bags and all that type of stuff every now and then. Cool. But I don't think it should be like, oh, yeah, that door's open every time. I need to see what you're doing all the fucking... No, that's weird, fam. That's weird.
Don't refuse me from coming into your room when I knock, I'm gonna come in, but let me know when you're ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me I can't come into your room. It's my house. I'm gonna come into the room. You know what I mean?
That's factual.
But I'm gonna knock first.
Yeah. Like, what if you're getting dressed, or
what if you're beating your meat?
You don't want to see your kid doing that? Like, what if he is? What if he is?
I'm not gonna judge him for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he will.
I'm pretty sure these are images neither of us want in our head.
I'm sure of it as well.
All right, so it's like I don't want I don't want to walk in on that. I don't want to walk in on like people changing or.
And he deserves to be his meat in peace. You know what I mean? That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement, but I don't want to make it look like it's just a parent thing, because they get reinforced a lot by other family members. And I remember one of the times that when I first started talking back to my mom, when she would say something and I would challenge her on it, my brothers were like, "What are you doing?" Like, if I was her, I would have smacked you. I'm like, what did I do though? She said something that was wrong. I said, no, I wasn't doing this on the computer. I was actually looking something up.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking? Like, they get reinforced by other toxic family members. Where it's like, what? It's
but
not
I mean,
just,
like,
it's
if they're
not
your older brothers, it's like they were raised the same way, so they don't know better.
But they went through the same shit that I'm going. They should understand what I'm going through.
Yeah, but maybe it's like they're trying to protect you. Where it's like it's not even the point of explaining the discrepancy between that. It's you're using the computer regardless. You weren't supposed to be on the computer, even if you're using it for homework. You weren't supposed to be on the computer, fam. Right?
Dog.
You weren't supposed to be watching that TV show at 3 p.m. on a weekday. Right? You're supposed to be doing your homework. So
if I didn't do my homework, it would be a problem too. I gotta do my homework, right?
You gotta guess.
My point is, all right. My point is, there are a lot of family members who reinforce toxic traits either because they feel pressured, right, or because they feel the same way.
Yeah, I just don't think people understand. Like, even privacy is not necessarily the biggest thing, but privacy is still important. But there's other areas of life where it's like, oh, well, but kid in my soul's mouth if he swears, and I'm like, do you really gotta go to that extent to get your point across, fam? Like, do you really gotta do that?
I was never. Did it ever happen to you?
What, with someone mouth?
Yeah.
Nah.
Like getting your tongue washed? I've seen it happen to people.
Yeah, I'm like, that just seems awful.
It feels like you're poisoning the child, right? Like, it's actually a health risk, isn't it?
Do y'all know what soap tastes like? Soap is not a pleasant taste.
There's also a health risk.
I mean, like,
I'm not talking about that. I'm sure they're doing it because of the taste. I'm sure they know it tastes bad. So that's the punishment.
What if the kid swallows it, huh? What if the kid swallows it?
It's on the tongue. They're going to swallow it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
you're poisoning the child to discipline them when they're going to say when you're not around anyways.
You know, I'm not a fan of hitting kids.
Oh, I am.
At all.
We disagree on that. I am.
I'm not really a fan. But
that's not toxic.
Depends how far you take it.
Well, of course.
Depends on how far you take it.
Of course.
You know? I can't imagine I'll just be hitting my kid, man. Can't imagine. But at the same time, I grew up not getting. I'm not taking like one belt my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, I really.
And you turned out all right. You must have been a great kid.
I ain't caused no trouble, man.
You're very obedient, huh?
Only trouble I caused is like me after school, like,
bro, there's no
hanging out too long, not coming home when I was supposed to.
There's no way you didn't at least get smacked at least one time. Like at the back of your head, the shoulder.
I really don't know.
Not even the back of the head. That's like I'm too lazy to get the belt. We're out in public, so I'm gonna just let you know what's going on.
I got hit with a belt like maybe once, fam. Maybe once or twice.
That's crazy.
My mom was not a fan of that.
You know, I can see myself disciplining my children through spankings or whippings or whatever you want to call it. I don't think it'd be tough unless I have a girl. I feel like it would be tough for me to spank my girl. Doesn't feel like I'm beating a woman. You know what I mean? Like that part, that might be tough for me.
It's okay for you to beat the man.
He's a man. I know it's not right. I know it's not right.
If that's the reasoning behind it.
But you know what?
That's terrible.
No, I know it's not right, but I'm not the only one who feels that way, because the girl that I dated who would sneak out on whatever, that same one, she said that her brother got spanked all the time by her dad, but her dad never touched her. He'd either send her to her mom or just not hit her at all. I feel like it's different. Spanking, I want to think that I'll be impartial, but I feel like it's different. But I do believe in spankings. Maybe there is, but I feel like there is hardly any better teacher than pain. Once you do something and it hurts, you're very unlikely to do that again.
But now think of the the mindset you're instilling in that kid.
What mindset?
Where it's like, oh, if I do something wrong, there's pain.
Yeah.
Right? But then if you're... Like, that's always going to be the reaction, though.
I wouldn't say, I'm not going to be a serial spanker.
That's what the kid's going to think, though.
There's limits. You can
like,
take it to the extreme. I'm not going to be like,
do you want your kid to fear you, or do you want them to love you?
Well, I want them to love me, of course.
But do you want them to fear you?
But I want them to fear the consequences of an action that they know,
which is good,
is not something that they should have been doing.
But then what happens when they do that action and then there's no pain involved afterwards?
What do you mean? Like they get used to the spankings and they just stop feeling it?
Or if they did something they didn't find out or something. I don't know how to describe it, but like what is the mindset of the kid where it's always, I'm gonna get hit if I do this?
I feel like
that's what happens.
It only works up to a certain age. The spankings do, because for me and my brothers at least, like after we turned 13, my mom just stopped hitting us because we weren't feeling it anymore. Like when we stopped crying, I guess she felt like this ain't working no more. So she would do things like take away our phones and,
So why couldn't that be the first thing?
Because we didn't really care about that kind of stuff when we were younger. Like that was the worst thing to us, getting hit. When we got older and we got people that were texting, places that we want to go, things we want to keep up with.
I'm sure when you were kids, you couldn't watch TV. I'm sure if you were a kid and your mom was like, yo, no TV.
I'll just go outside and play.
No outside?
I'll just go to my room and play with my toys.
No toys?
I'll play with my fingers.
How long you play with your fingers for, fam?
As long as I needed to, bro. I would do the worst thing to me,
I feel like
personally, the worst thing to me.
If you ground a kid, man,
getting spanked.
No outside, no video games.
That's weak. I don't want to turn into the episode of shooting spanking kids, all right?
All right. I want to get into concretely toxic behaviors, right? And dealing with toxic family, right? I feel like, like there's obviously different types of abuse, right? There's verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. We're not
right.
I don't want to get into this, but I want to get into a segment of not supporting your kids. Like their dreams, their wants, or even their needs,
or even like just what they're saying to you about other people.
Yeah,
like that's the first thing that came to my mind, because that's something that's really sad to see in person. Right, we're gonna get back to your point about the dreams and stuff, but when it just comes to especially when it comes to abuse, if an extended family, if I was a young boy and I went to my mom or my dad or my brother and said, Uncle Ronnie touched me. Yeah. I want to be able to think that they believe me. You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of times that's not the case.
It's not.
Uncle Ron didn't touch you. Shut the fuck up, boy. That's my brother. That's my father. That's my. You know what I mean? Like, nah, he didn't.
No, that's true too.
And that's the type of shit that
it is. And you have to think about as it's very disparaging, very disheartening too. But there is. I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but I wanted to think about if your kid told you that and you're it's like your brother's your best friend, or you're very close with your father or something like that, are you really
it's not about believing, right? But they dismiss it right away and they don't even look into it. They're that they tell you what you experienced didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
They're not like, all right, I'm gonna talk to Ronnie, I'm gonna see what happened and get whatever, put an investigation, piece something together. None of that. Because
I feel like in cases when that type of abuse happens, that is the logic a lot of people go through, but I think they also have to think about the other side of the coin, where it's like, yo, can this person process that the person very close to them their whole life is doing something that's sick?
But as a kid, you're not trying to consider if the person can process this or not. You're
not. And dismissing it is crazy. So.
And then once they have that support from the other family members, the extended family members, Uncle Ronnie didn't do that, and now you can see how toxic behavior is being either ignored or supported, and that's gonna fuck with your mental growing up for sure. It's gonna fuck with your relationship with your family and all that stuff. And I feel like in a way that's even worse to me than your mom saying, I don't think you should go try to be a basketball player.
Oh no, I mean that's
if you're not respected or taken seriously enough for stuff like that, which happens way too often. Yeah. I feel like if a kid comes up and tells you in confidence, he didn't go shout it off the rooftops, then I'm like, all right, what are you doing? Yeah. But if he comes up to you and tells you this thing specifically, especially if they're emotional about it, you can't just dismiss that shit. Yeah. Whether or not, I don't care how well you know Ronnie. Ronnie could be my brother that I grew up with for 35 years. Uh-huh. I'll still ask him about it. I would not dismiss the kid, and I feel like it's so toxic when you just throw it out the window because it's a kid. What does he know?
Yeah, exactly.
That shit stays with you.
Exactly.
And I know people who it stayed with.
Now, I think over time, when you're going through those relationships, despite how damaging those are, you have to think about the effects. Like I think about this all the time. I mentioned this in the previous episode about immigrant parents. Like the saying that I'm not your friend, right? It just sticks with me a lot because like if I'm a person that doesn't have a good relationship with my parents, or it's just a dictator, like, hey, I do what you say, blah blah blah. It's like, when am I ever gonna come back to you for advice, or when am I ever gonna come back to chill with you? Like will I envision myself on Mother's Day when I'm 30 years old and I'm out the house coming back to have a dinner with you, or from like on Father's Day am I coming back to chill with you and watch a game together? Like, am I gonna be doing those things if that relationship exists, right? Or you just never gonna see me when I leave the house, or like you just never gonna see me when you guys are doing whatever you're doing. And you know, I think these things are ignored by the toxic person, right? Because they think it's like, oh, you're my kid, so you do whatever I want whenever. And right. Like,
and when you grow up, if you don't come around, then why don't you love me? What's going on? I've done all these things for you. You can't just pretend like I don't exist. Or you miss me when I'm dead. You know, they always say that.
That can all be true. Like, you miss dead people all the time.
I know that.
That could be very true, but it's like I'm not gonna want to spend my time with someone who doesn't make me feel good, or who makes me feel like I'm less than. So if I have that, I'm not saying I have this relationship at all, but if I have this relationship with my parents or my siblings or my cousins, uncles, grandmothers, whoever it may be, I understand blood's thicker than water and all this type of stuff. I understand that, fam. No, because the saying exists for a reason, right? And it's because, especially when you're younger, you get sick, who's taking care of you? Right? You get sick, your parents taking care of you, your siblings are taking care of you. Well, I'm sure
that they would go to jail if the people who were responsible for you didn't take responsibility for you.
If you need something, who has your back?
They had to.
9 times out, but there's times they don't have to have your back. Like it could be having your back over, you being sick, or it could be having your back over needing money, or needing a favor, or just needing whatever money.
Like paying for like tuition and stuff.
It could be tuition. It could be, can I get some?
Oh, if you got tuition from your parents,
can I get some money to go to the movies and chill with my friends, or like
money for the movies, money for your own personal pleasures, from your. I don't know if that's just me.
You hear that?
I'd have to save money for my lunch money, then I can use it.
And
I'm not blaming my mom because money was tight, but that's what I had to do. I can't imagine saying, "Yo, can I get some money to go to the movies?"
My mom would look.
Not that she's mean, but we didn't have it.
But when I wasn't, if I didn't have it, I didn't really start working until I was like 17. I didn't have a high school job until I was 17. So, if I didn't have any lunch money left over, or lunch money that I was saving or rationing, then that's my mom for. It will be no issue.
I wanna go back to this whole notion of.
But the saying is this, because they at least for the 18 years they're required to have your back at least, but they do have your back, fam. If you get sick, who's nursing you back to health?
Having your back is like
who is
having your back is like, if I'm at school and I get into an altercation with the teacher, you're more likely to find out why I did it than to just punish me right away. That's having my back.
I don't.
Absolutely. And that's something my mom did. My mom did that very well, because I was a pretty good student, and I got into trouble with the teacher one time. Mr. Sullivan, if you're out there, Mr. Sullivan for some reason decided that I was the one today. And I decided that I was in fact not the one today. All right? And so some shit happened. I talked back to him. I wasn't taking that. My mom got called to the school. And as soon as she found out she was getting called to the school, she's like, what? What they do to you? I'm like, that's what they want to talk to you about. I didn't do nothing. I told her what happened. She's like, no, that's ridiculous. She went to the school. The first thing they did, mind you, this was something that happened in the cafeteria, right? Yeah. Whatever. First thing they did was bring up my grades. Try to use that against me. I had straight A's. It's like, oh, you're on the honor roll. Okay, you got good grades. So we'll move past that. Let's talk about that, though. You brought it up, right? That's what my mom said. My mom's like, what does his grades have to do with this?
Yeah.
She had my back.
Okay, that's cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, he's been in school for all these years, kindergarten through middle school, elementary through high school, never had any issues with any teachers. What is this man's problem? That's having my back.
Okay.
Not taking care of me when I'm sick. You know what I mean? That's what a parent does. But that's what I'm trying to envision when you like have your back. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I just don't know how many teachers are. I don't know how many teachers are picking on kids for no reason. I mean, I'm sure it exists. But.
No, maybe they're not picking on. Maybe I was at fault, but my mom didn't come out the gate saying, "What did you do? Go to your room to give me your phone." That's not how she came out of it. You know what I mean? True. She tried to see what happened, and she was on my side. She made me feel like I was supported from the very beginning, and that was pretty important to me.
That is good, but I still feel like the blood thicker than water. Saying
that's not the whole saying.
What's the saying?
The whole saying is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
English, please.
The blood of the covenant, I'm going to say it again, then I'll explain. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
What is the covenant?
A covenant is like a promise or a bond or a connection. You can have friendships, external relationships that you build yourself, promises that you made that is more meaningful to you, that is more important to you than the water of the womb, meaning the people that you shared the same womb with, siblings.
Okay.
Your mom.
I got you.
And people cut out the whole saying just to make it suit some other agenda, some other meaning. It's the complete opposite meaning of the actual saying.
News to me. But fam, you've been with your blood your whole life, right? Friends do come and go, right? If something did happen, I feel like your family's more likely to have your back than your friends are. But you've been with your blood your whole life, right? Friends do come and go, right? If something did happen, I feel like your family's more likely to have your back than your friends are.
I grew up with them. If you grew up with someone that you weren't related to, that would be the type of relationship that you have anyways.
But that...
Look at Flash.
But most people grow up with their family.
Most people do, but that's why.
So I feel like that saying still holds.
That saying, it doesn't have to do with family. Then it has to do with proximity and who you grow up with. I have no issue, and that's something else I wanted to say too. When you're talking about when you have that type of relationship with your parents, where you feel like you can't really chill with them, connect with them, have fun with them, be around them without feeling pressured or bad or anything, you're not gonna want to be around them, right? You're gonna want to sever that tie.
Of course.
For some reason, you're wrong for wanting to sever a toxic tie just because that person is blood. Family should be able to come and go depending on the value they add to your lives. Yeah, just like friends.
Think about how much value this person adds to your life. The fact that whether required by law or not, right? Whether they raised you, they fed you,
right?
They brought you to school.
That doesn't build a relationship. That alone is not enough for a relationship.
They took care of you. Nurturing somebody does build a relationship for you.
But we know that it's not true. Not when everything I say goes. You need more than that. You need a give and take, not just a give.
I mean,
that kid is not going to feel any type of bond. Well, he will feel a type. He or she will feel a type of bond with you, but not the type that they're going to want to come up. They will love you from a distance, and that should be okay. If you're not the type of person that they can love up close for their own mental health, especially when it comes to your mental health, it should be okay to love someone from a distance. You can't shame someone for, and I've seen this so many times, Reddit, Twitter, whatever, where, especially when one kid was favored over another, the one who was not favored grows up and he goes on his own way, right? I saw this post. He goes his own way. He went to college, having the time of his life. He's being accepted for the first time. He's being listened to, taken seriously. All the things that his parents and his siblings didn't do. Years later, his sibling reached out to him, hey, I realized that we were wrong. Mom and dad really wants to talk to you. They're sorry for everything that they did. And we hope that you will reach out to us. He doesn't want to go back to that. Maybe they are sorry. Maybe they're not. Maybe they need something. Maybe they don't. Who knows why they're really reaching out and why wait till now? Yeah. But he's like, nah. He was asking for advice. He's like, I really don't want to, but what do I do? Okay. And it's like, you can't blame this man for wanting to cut off toxic family.
No, I don't blame you.
You would do that for a friend.
But there is that pressure. I mean, people imagine someone like, yo, I don't rock with my mom, or I don't rock with my dad, or I don't rock with my brother. or my sister,
Mm-hmm.
or like
If they're bringing you down, you can't.
you know, it's a better one. It's like I don't rock with my grandmother.
What?
Yeah, like I feel like that's a better
Who said that?
Exactly. Like who doesn't rock
No,
with
no, no.
who doesn't rock with their grandmother?
Whose grandmother's toxic to a
I mean,
grandbaby?
you never know.
That's
I mean,
physically possible.
but I feel like that's a better one because maybe they'll give you some leeway for parents and siblings. I feel like grandmothers. Exactly your reaction right there.
There's no grandmother who's toxic to this.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
To their grandbaby.
You'll be surprised, man. You will be surprised. I'm just saying, you will be surprised.
What?
Right.
All right. I would have that. I would find out.
That would be the reaction. Like that's a perfect example. Grandmother's a perfect. My grandmother, I don't rock with my grandmother at all. She bullies me. She freaking talks mad shit about me to my family. You know what?
I can imagine.
Says I'm doing something I'm not doing. Like if that's the case right there,
I can imagine that when it comes to like old school like race relations types thing. Like if a white family, if a white man and woman had a daughter, married a black man, they had a black son. I can see the grandmother or the grandfather not being.
That's true too. That's
true
too. Yeah.
So
I can see that. But it could be other reasons. Just like
you definitely want to cut that racist ass bitch off.
You're not wrong for that. But there could be other reasons though. Like you just like somebody just doesn't rock with their grandmother. Their grandmother just did like something like trash. You'd be like, what the hell? Like you would be like the reaction would be like, who doesn't rock with their grandmother? It would be the same exact reaction.
Sure.
And I feel like when these things happen, there is no. The instant reaction, whether it's your fault or not, is like, oh, what's wrong with you? Not like, oh, what happened?
All right, I don't want to make it seem like I'm an advocate for cutting off your family as soon as they do something that displeases you.
But how much leash? Like,
but
your family should get more leash. Your family should get more leash. I'm a firm believer that the people that raised you, that grew up with you, that you go to their house for Thanksgiving, maybe not go to the house for Thanksgiving. I'll be like, I have a good relationship with my family, but like the ones that you don't hear from in a while, or you only see once a year, maybe they have a less leash. But like if it's people you see consistently,
because they're more like friends than anything, because you didn't grow up with them.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
But with people you grew up with consistently, you share some bloodline, you share a grandmother, or freaking whatever. That should be the.
I agree with that.
They get more leash, fam. They get more leash. They spend time. You spend time with them. They could be toxic. Like everyone has bad traits,
and that goes to the question.
We have to differentiate between bad and toxic.
Yeah, of course. I feel like toxic is chronic. A bad trait is like every now and then you do something, but toxic is like if it's like constantly like bogging you down.
Okay, I'll go with that for now.
Like a toxic trait is like always thinking I'm a liar. Like everything I say is a lie to you, but a bad trait is like you don't do the dishes.
I see where you're coming from. I'll just go with that for now.
But that begs the question, right? Do you try to save them? Do you try to break the cycle? If you grew up in a household where a lot of the things that's done is just done just because, or you always punished but hardly ever rewarded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's another thing too. You're always punished but hardly ever rewarded, always chastised but never praised. Do you try, when you grow up and you realize the shortcomings of your family and you deal with all the insecurities and all the issues that are in you because of that, do you then try to save your family, your parents, brothers, cousins? Do you try to save them? Or do you do like you would do to a friend and say, good luck?
No, I don't know if saving is the right term, but you at least have a couple talking to, man. Like if my friend did some wildly disrespectful shit to me or wildly but betrayed me, it's like, yeah, you're out of here. Well, depending on how close our friendship is. If it was like, if we're very close, then he'll get like a second chance. But he's like, yo, like
he probably just gets an explanation.
This can't happen again, boy. Yeah, maybe that. But if it's your family or like somebody else like that, like you gotta. I don't want to say save them, but I want to be like, depending on how.
But is that your responsibility though? Like you're wrong for not wanting to save or help them.
You don't have to want to do it, but I feel like you should want to do it because like you love them so much. Where you're at that point where it's like, yeah, I know you're not perfect. I know I'm not perfect either.
But what if you don't? What if your life was miserable? Like, yeah, when you got sick, you got taken care of, but your waking healthy hours were miserable. Think of like Harry Potter. right? His Muggle parents.
Yeah.
Do you think he loves them? I never read the books. I don't know if, J.K. Rowling never specified that, even though they were mean, he loved them deep down. I don't know. But from the movies, I wouldn't say he loved them. And I don't see him ever going back to say, hey, what you did to me was not all right. Let's talk about it.
I like this case study, though. I like the Harry Potter example with his because they sucked ass, though.
Exactly. I'm sure when he was sick, they would nurse him back to health, but his waking, healthy hours were miserable. Lived under the stairs.
Damn.
And now, is it his responsibility? Like, even if it was his real life blood parents, is it now his responsibility, or should he turn around and say, you guys have made all these decisions based on anger and frustration and jealousy, but now I want to be the one to break that and make more decisions based on love. Let's talk about it. I don't see him ever doing that. And I wouldn't blame him if he does.
You know what? Yeah, I agree with you, actually. Fuck those guys. Oh, man, what were their names? They sucked ass, though.
I don't remember.
His mother parents suck, man. If it's that bad, but if it's to a lesser degree of toxic, like you don't live in the freaking under the stairs or in the basement.
Yeah.
But there's just like a lot of things, like maybe your dreams got killed, or maybe one sibling was favored over the other.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the sibling favored over, I feel like that can be...
That's very damaging.
No, it is very damaging. But I feel like that situation is more...
But the thing is, they know the whole while that that what they're doing is wrong, and they just never corrected it. You cannot favor one child over the other without feeling a type of way about it.
Fine. If they're doing something that they don't know is toxic, maybe it's like the talking back thing. Right.
Okay.
We can say it's that. Like,
all right. Yeah, I get that.
That's not to the extent of F you forever.
Yeah.
But still fairly toxic.
Yeah, I get that.
I feel like you could be like, this isn't cool. This is why
mm-hmm.
if I bring your grandchildren around you, I don't want you doing this to them because that's not cool. I feel like that's fair.
And So now in the case where you grow up, you go about your life, and they said, "Yo, you never come around no more," and you want to start coming around, right? That's not just having conversations with them. Now, you want to make them happy. They're in their twilight years, right? You want to make them happy, see their children, see their grandchildren. It's then you're spending all this time with them, and they still haven't learned, right? Like in that situation,
if it gets to that point, then just you're 100% right to cut them off. 100% right. You're 100% right. It's like, if I told you something, right? And you didn't even have to agree it's bad, but I'm telling you, at least for my sake, I'm telling you it's bad, and please refrain from doing it to me or my children. Mm-hmm. And you're still doing that. It's like, why the hell would I come around you? Why would I come around you?
That's family.
Blood
is thicker than water. That's your
cool.
mom. You only get one mom.
That's cool, fam. But if I told you something and how it made me feel,
but you're my child. You don't know better than me. I was on this earth a lot longer than you.
That's the worst.
I was on this earth a lot longer than you.
That's the worst toxic behavior ever.
You
know what I hate?
Kid.
I know many people like this. People that think they're always right. Cannot stand them. I cannot stand them, fam. There's no person on earth who is always right. Ever. If you were always right, you'd have all this shit figured out. You'd be rich. You'd be a millionaire. You'd be living the best life. You would never complain once in your life because you have all the answers. Hate people like
but it's funny how the people who are always right complain the most.
Ain't that funny, man? Ain't that funny? And that mentality is it goes back to the talking back thing. It goes back to the computer thing. I was doing I know it's not to use a computer, but I had to use a computer for my homework. No, don't use a computer. Well, the computer's bad. It's there's reasons to use the computer that aren't playing games or aren't doing what I'm not supposed to be doing.
Right.
But now you're always right, so I can't correct you. Or I'm talking, you know what I'm saying? That type of behavior is extremely toxic. And mother always knows. I understand that. Mom always, or most moms, right? My mom always has the best interest in mind. Mm-hmm. But to think that you can always be right,
even about simple shit.
Yeah, it's that's crazy.
Do you remember Jenny's story from the immigrant parents episode where there was a snow day and she told her dad that there's no school today because she saw it on the TV. He's like, nope, there's school. And he took her to school just to find out it was closed. Man never apologized.
Like,
bro.
like that's sick, bro.
And now when she moves out, I bet he's like, Jenny, you never come around no more. What's going on? You don't love your old man?
It's like,
I'm sure she does, but why would she want to be around?
What healthy relationship can I have a back and
What do we
forth
do?
and change my mind? What do we do?
What do we do?
If your
parents are always right. They have all these toxic behaviors. You want to love them from a distance, but there's all these societal pressures, and you love them so that to the point where you want to see them do better. You want them to make more decisions based on love rather than because I said so, anger, frustration, all that stuff.
I mean, it's not feasible for a lot of people, especially if you're younger, especially if you're not of that age where you can move out or you don't have the financial resources. But I do think like the love from a distance does help though. I would imagine that's a good thing, because now space apart can be good. And if you can't get that space apart, I mean, like just try to get closer to like another family member. Like if you have aunts or uncles,
that's tough though, because that goes back to like all these family members supporting toxic behaviors.
But let's say like they don't, right? Let's say if you have some family members that don't do that, I feel like the best thing to do is just show yourself and show what type of character you are, right? So people will know. It's like, oh, just like people are saying this about you, and like, y'all know I'm not like that. I come around here all the time.
Like, just so your family doesn't say the wrong things about you, you mean?
Yeah, or just so they would take like some things with a grain of salt. Like if you had like a cousin that was talking mad greasy about you, right? You would be like, all right, and they influence everyone else's mind to think that you're doing all these type of things that you're not doing.
That doesn't go away in family settings.
It doesn't go away, but if you've consistently shown you're not doing those things, it's like, oh, maybe this person's not telling the truth. If your cousin came up to you like, yo,
that happens.
If your cousin came up, I mean, it might not, but I mean, this is just my advice to people. Like maybe I'm not close enough to these situations, but if my cousin came up and told my whole family, yo, I'm stealing money out of everybody's wallets. Right, I'm stealing money. It's oh yeah, I thought I was missing $20. I thought I was missing $40.
But you know what?
And then you come around like you consistently not do that, and the only times where that money's gone missing is when your cousin's also been there. Then it could be like, all right, this just not adding up, Or you might get banned from their house. So
well, that's the thing.
you
like
you might get banned from the house. After
that sounds a lot like if black people just acted the right way, then there would be no racism.
No.
Like if we just show up and we just consistently well spoken, well educated, well dressed, then maybe they'll respect us.
No, it's not. It's not that.
But then it's different in your case though, because there's no preconceived bias.
Yeah, there's no like. The only bias would be is just, I don't like this person. That'll be the only thing that'll happen.
Right. Yeah.
Either way, or you're just taking, like if it's an elder, if it's your grandmother, or your mother, or your uncle, or whatever. They're taking their word more serious because they're older. But then if you show them you're not like that, I'm pretty sure.
I do
if the person you're talking, like not the toxic person, but the other person in your family that's not toxic, if you show them that, they can like vouch for you. They have more leverage than you.
That I like. I like the idea, because if you're young, you're not gonna be taken seriously. Like let's face it, if you're 11, no one's gonna say, "Hey, my mom doesn't really, make a lot of decisions based on love. She just does it based on."
They're not gonna take you seriously. They're gonna think you're like being dramatic. Kids are dramatic all the time.
Right.
Kids are dramatic, fam. Kids are dramatic.
So I like the idea of going to someone that you like, someone that you trust. Hopefully, you have someone like that in your life. If you don't, if it's just you, if you're in a Harry Potter situation,
become a wizard.
You heard it here first, man. Alice Guerrier 2020. Become a wizard.
It's tough, but I just don't think people should feel any shame for wanting to remove themselves from people who make their life miserable. Like you only
even family or not.
You don't. Yeah. Like if someone's making your life miserable, fam, you're not owed them an explanation.
You're not beholden to them at all.
Like imagine you're in a romantic relationship, especially making your life miserable.
Yeah.
Like if you just up and leave one day, you're well within your rights.
Exactly. Like, and there's so many people willingly suffering because the source of their suffering is a family member.
Yeah.
And that's not right.
It
that
sucks.
ain't right, bro.
It sucks, but like
if you're listening to this, please know that it's not wrong.
But for people who can't get out, I honestly, there's not much they can do if they don't have, especially if they don't have outside family members that can influence, other people's decisions. It's like what you do, take your parents to court, end up in a foster home. Like that's scary.
Yeah.
That's like it's a no lose situation until you get older. I mean, it's a no-win situation.
Yeah, in a weighted out solution seems kind of callous. You know what I mean? Like, how many times did you think, like, when you were younger, like, you know, I can't wait till I'm 18 so I can get the fuck out of this house?
Yeah, and then you turn 18, it's like, oh, I'm also broke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like...
They might get kicked out the house, too. So.
Yeah, that weighted out solution might be the best for some people.
There's no easy answer to this question. But
how do you, as a kid,
deal
with toxic family members?
And I'll just leave the big question is like, do you give your family more leash if they're toxic? Does your family get more leash if they're toxic?
Of course, if they're close family. If my cousin from the Caribbean shows up tomorrow and is like, yo, can I stay with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then they disrespect me.
Yeah, but goodbye. They could be close family, but toxic is toxic at the same time. You know, so like
it hits different depending on who's coming from, though.
That's all I gotta ask. Does toxic family get more leash than other people? That's all I'm gonna say. That's my question for the day.
And I'm gonna ask, what advice would you give a kid who is dealing with toxic, or even an adult who still someone who isn't taken very seriously in their family structure? How would they deal with toxic family members? Let us know what you think. Comment down below if you're on the YouTube or on the social media.
Opinion Factory Podcast. Find us on Apple, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify.
Wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you like and share the video if you enjoyed it with your family and friends, especially with your family.
Subscribe to the channel. And we will see y'all
next week.